So I'm coming up on my 20th wedding anniversary next week, like exactly 1 week from today. And I've been doing some reflecting, y'all, like just like 20 years. Woo woo, like wow. And so, but I think that's with anything that we've stayed committed to in life for that long. There's a story to tell. Right? And so obviously people do ask me like, yo, like, what's the deal? Like, how you doing that? Like, I think it's just at this point, in our world, in our society, to hold on to anything for 20 years can feel like an accomplishment, right? For a lot of people, not just marriages, but businesses and even childhood friendships. Like if you tell someone that you've remained friends with someone for 20 plus years, people will really look at you like, how did you do that? Like, tell me a little bit more about it. And so, what it made me reflect on was years ago, I used to be a professional makeup artist. And as I was building my portfolio, I started doing weddings to kind of make some money, just to make sure that what I really wanted to do was do more makeup for models, like modeling agencies, and I wanted to travel and all of those different things, but I needed the money to do it. And so doing wedding makeup was like the easiest route to get there. And I remember a bride asking me while I was doing her makeup, because I've always been a social worker, right? So even while I was doing makeup, I was a social worker full time as well. And I remember talking to her, and I felt like that part of me always just kind of came out. Even though I was a makeup artist, I was still kind of like counseling folks, in the makeup chair. And I remember her asking me like, Angie, like, give me something, give me some food for thought, some advice, whatever. And I'm looking like, girl, what you asking me for? At the time I was only married for like a year, and I'm like, well, I've been married for like 2.5 seconds. Okay. But she was like, no, still, what I'm saying? Like, tell me something, And even though I didn't have the experience as many years being married that I felt like I guess I needed to share with her, I just kind of relied on my wisdom at that moment and like intuitive nature. And I said, well, you know what? My guess is this. In order for a relationship to be successful, to remain successful, I think you at least need these two things. And so she's like all ears, like, what are those two things? And I was like, well, first you gotta want it. Both people have to want it. And both people have to be willing to continuously work for it. I just thought it was just such a simple concept, because like in the grand scheme of things, it's actually very simple. Now, is it easy to execute? Not always. And that's something that I learned over time throughout 20 years of marriage, is that the desire to want to be there and the willingness to do the work can kind of like go in and out sometimes, if we're being really honest, because life happens and it makes you sit back and reflect on a lot of different things. And like, okay, is this really what I want anymore? Am I really willing to invest the time and energy that it takes to make this happen? Like, no lie, right? And then I would say, as I grew as an individual, number one, as I grew as a wife, number two, and then also as I grew as a therapist, something else that I wanted to add to that wantingness and having a willingness to do it, the last thing I would add is that as long as our core values are either the same, similar, or complement one another, then that's probably where you have the best opportunity for success. So number one, you both have to want it. You both have to be willing to put in the whatever that is, that work. And that work can only be defined by the two of you. And then your core values either have to be the same, similar, or complement each other. Because without one of the three, then you're probably going to run into some issues regarding, should we even do this anymore? So that's just what I've been reflecting on in 20 years of marriage. I'd love to hear your thoughts too about what you think, about just relationships and longevity. And yeah, what does that say to you, and how does this message resonate with you?